Oh, I feel for my brother. Feel for my brother. The street life used to be on. Straight up hustling till the break of dawn. Taught me how to do wrong right. Everything inside.
Teebs, it's another week, another nerd holiday on the horizon.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Yes, and of course I'm talking about Free Comic Book Day on Saturday,
That
May
is
3rd.
great. May 3rd. That is pretty great. I am pretty excited about Free Comic Book Day. I
So-
know a comic book, and I especially love it when they're free.
I mean, let's be honest, we both love most things when they're free, you know?
Free is good.
Which is partly why we do this podcast, so that we, much like everybody else that has a freaking podcast, can get free stuff.
I would like free stuff.
We're still waiting on that. We're still waiting on
Podcast
that.
started generating free merchandise.
Instead of us handing out free merchandise like we did at Comic-Con last year.
Exactly.
It is the Teebs and KidPhoenix versus podcast. As much as we do enjoy Free Comic Book Day this Saturday, support your local comic book shops wherever you go, and
Support non-local comic book shops.
or non-local comic book shops. That's fine as well.
That's fine too.
It's always nice. Go out to the suburbs if you have to get that cool that's those sweet comics if need be.
Sweet comics.
But that's not the only nerd holiday going on this weekend. Sunday is May 4th, so we know what that means.
Yeah, May 4th is traditionally
Day before Cinco de Mayo.
a German holiday called Gefichtelnacht,
Yeah,
which is
isn't there like there's a Kardashian holiday in there too, isn't there? Is it Kardashian or Romulan? We can get James in on that one.
no. Did you say like Kim Kardashian? That's not.
What
My
was
bad.
What was I thinking of?
No, you said it with an H. There's no H in the Kardashians.
Kardashians, whatever. Okay, all right.
Whatever. No, not whatever.
Okay, the Kardashians. There's no. We need a podcast about like Star Trek holidays. You know, let's get James in on this.
Anyway, this pod is not about Star Trek.
No, it is not. Not this time.
This pod is about Star Wars, the other Star
Wars
franchise.
Star Wars, a franchise that's all about good storytelling and the desires of one man to better himself and reach the galaxy on different levels of intelligence and ingenuity. And to that effect, can I just vamp for a little bit more about something?
Go for it.
I would like to propose another little story. And this story involves our man Teebs here. And his desire to possibly have a table at San Diego Comic-Con so he can spread his joy of art and togetherness across all nerdy spectrums. So it is with that in mind, underneath John Williams, and hopefully we can get this hashtag started, Teebs for Artist Alley. We'll get this going, and then hopefully Teebs will get a table at Comic-Con this year, because he doesn't have one yet.
I would just like to say,
Don't do that.
have worth and help build this great nation.
He's playing the card, folks.
Forgot the rightful compensation they deserve.
Wow.
I think one way to perhaps right that terrible, terrible injustice is to let Teebs have a table at Comic-Con. Like, listen, I'm not even saying a free table. I'm just saying I will pay for it. Just, let me have a table and yeah, like, and then all is forgiven. White people, you're good.
No, we're not. No. You're not. No, we're not doing that. As you can tell, we're all about good vibes this week. So we're talking about Star Wars, and a common theme on our podcast is us like bitching about Star Wars, but we're not going to do that.
Not this son. Not today.
As the title suggests, we're all about the good vibes and things that we have appreciated about the Star Wars franchise. I guess we can say from the prequels on, because I feel like the original trilogy is like cemented. We don't have to talk about them ever again.
I
Like
mean,
they're cemented, they're in the Hall of Fame. Like that's it.
the original trilogy has plenty of goodwill,
Right.
but you know, a lot of, and you know, in the spirit of positivity, we want to talk about some of the more maligned areas of the Star Wars fandom, where people, you know, they always kind of rag on these things,
And
and we're saying,
maybe things that Teebs and I disagree with.
you know, maybe we don't necessarily feel the same way. So, in the spirit of that, in
Yeah.
that spirit, with that as our guide, we're gonna talk positively, positives only about the
Would
Star Wars franchise.
would you like to kick off the good vibes and keep the vibes flowing?
Let's talk about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Let's do it.
A lot of people malign this movie. A lot of people are like, oh, the plot doesn't make sense. They're like, oh, the taxes, oh, it's boring. Look, listen.
They're on camera 3.
Camera 3. If you were around, if you were alive on planet Earth and of movie going age in 1999 when The Phantom Menace came out, and you saw Darth Maul come out, and the double bladed lightsaber come out, and we're playing Duel of the Fates, I'm sorry, you were not poo-pooing that movie.
Yeah,
You
no.
were cheering, and you were immediately leaving after the movie was over, and you were getting right back in line. I saw you. Don't be revisionist history guy now. That happened. That 100% happened. You need to just accept that you love that movie despite all of its flaws, like I do. Let's just accept it for the wonderfully, tragically misshapen but lovable child that it is.
That's the thing about the prequel trilogy to me. That's something that is always talked about. The prequel trilogy deserves respect. Period, exclamation point. It deserves respect for that reason, because when that happened in episode 1, when Darth Maul, the double bladed lightsaber, everyone lost their shit. Like, I'm sorry.
Utter and complete shit loss.
Okay.
Total shit across the nation.
Across the nation, there was shortages of Hanes for like a week because everybody was out buying new underwear.
They lost their shit, okay?
Men, women, children, you all lost your shit. It smelled really bad out there for a couple of hours, but then everybody recollected themselves, got back in line, and then lost their shit again somehow.
Absolutely did. You got back in line. Anyway.
Episode 2 also has its flaws, but again, it's that movie where, you know, we've summed up the prequel trilogy in one clear, concise ideal. It's George Lucas putting his nuts and shaft on the table and saying, I want this. Period. Give it to me. I'm doing it. You can't stop me. That is the prequel trilogy in its simplest explanation.
Yes. And so episode 2, it's a movie that you can watch.
Jesus. Listen, there are some cool things about episode 2. You learn about Jango Fett. You have that giant Jedi battle in the arena. Like, there's some cool stuff in there.
Listen, I will tell you this. When the sonic depth charges go off.
Oh my god, the Slave One aerial fight. Oh
dope.
My god.
Just complete and utter dopeness.
And then
The Coruscant
It's fine. Seeing Yoda do the lightsaber thing for the first time, like ever as a young man, like that was cool, I guess.
Yeah, that does it for some people. Like this movie has some moments,
Nothing like shit loss, but you know.
nothing like Menace, in my opinion, but like interesting stuff.
And then
Interesting stuff.
and then Revenge of the Sith, of course, you have to have like the culmination with Anakin becoming Darth Vader. And what was so I personally like Revenge of the Sith probably more than most people. It's it's not something I rewatch on the regular, but I will put it on willingly, unlike some other movies that we have talked about before, but that we won't tonight because this night is all about good vibes. What's your experience with Revenge of the Sith, both when it came out and I guess what, 25 years later now? 20 years later?
Later, listen, I like Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is fine. I do think it does have some issues. It has some pacing issues, but we're
Yeah.
not here to talk about that. That's not what we're here to talk about.
The great things about Revenge of the Sith, depending on your opinions, Teebs doesn't rank it as high as others, but the Anakin versus Obi-Wan lightsaber duel, in my opinion, pretty effing good.
And you are entitled to that opinion. I think I prefer the episode one lightsaber battle, but just because I think it's more concise and it is more, and the episode three lightsaber battle just goes on a little bit too long for me and kind of loses the thread at certain points.
Can I tell you why I like that lightsaber fight more than most? I think there's so much story in that fight. There's so much story and there's so much emotion, there's so much feeling, there's so much passion in that fight. And you really see it come out on screen between Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. Another thing we need to talk about the prequel trilogy. Ewan McGregor's portrayal as Obi-Wan Kenobi, unassailable. Like Hall of Fame level stuff.
Phenomenal stuff.
But
Phenomenal.
when you have Ewan McGregor and you have Hayden Christensen going at it like that with the passion that they have for both of those characters, see all of the you see Anakin's pain of feeling betrayed by Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan's heartbreak, finding out that Anakin was the one that killed all the younglings. Like all of that is on screen and encapsulated in that fight, which is kind of why I like it so much, I guess.
Yeah, but see,
Does it drag? Is it a little too long? Sure, I
the
agree.
fight is kind of a bummer because there's no way to win. Nobody wins that fight.
Yeah.
Like if Anakin wins, like he's evil now, and like that's a bummer. And Obi-Wan eventually wins. Spoilers, sorry.
Sorry. You've had 20 years to watch the film, so
Obi-Wan wins, and that also doesn't feel like a win. So it's just. Whereas in the Phantom Menace, like there's definitely more of a feel-good moment. So
that's fair. Yeah, the prequel trilogy deserves respect, and people need to give it its respect. Like that's just fact, okay?
give it respect.
And on the topic of respect, I'm gonna go into something a little more recent, okay? So you just got to bear with me here. The last, I'll say, 10 years, the Kathleen Kennedy era. We're still on camera 3, right?
On camera.
Okay, Star Wars fans. Not saying all of you, but some of you. And you know who you are when I start to talk, all right? Kathleen Kennedy deserves some respect, and you need to get off that woman's back. Like, I'm sorry. It's accurate. It's true. 10 years under Kathleen Kennedy, it has not been like the worst thing in the history of the franchise. Arguably, the worst thing in the history of the franchise is George Lucas selling Disney in the first place. That's a different conversation for another day. Kathleen Kennedy's run, this 10-year run that started with The Force Awakens and I believe concludes with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie because I think that's the last thing she's a producer on. There's some risks being taken. There's some swings, and let's just go through the timeline real quick. Would you indulge me real quick with the Kathleen
Yeah,
Kennedy
sure,
timeline?
sure. I'll indulge you. I'll indulge you.
Okay, and then just give me just like a thumbs up, thumbs down. I know you didn't see some of the TV shows, so it's fine. Force Awakens.
From moderately up.
Just it's yes or no. It's up or down, man. There's no
Thumbs
gray.
up.
Thank you.
Thumbs up.
There's no gray area here. Rogue One,
Thumbs up.
Last Jedi,
Thumbs up.
Solo.
I mean, you won't let me put a thumb in the middle, so I guess thumbs down.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Rise of Skywalker. I think we know how we all feel.
Thumbs down. Thumbs down.
So here's the trick. Here's the trick one. The entirety of the Mandalorian.
Again, you won't let me put a thumb in the middle.
I'm gonna say thumbs up.
Okay, thumbs up.
A Book of Boba Fett.
Thumbs down.
Obi-Wan. Are you closer to up or down?
I'm closer to down.
That's fair. Andor.
Haven't seen it.
Thumbs up 1,000%. Ahsoka, you haven't seen, but my question is, does it count that she was third producer behind Filoni and Favreau? Do we count that?
It does count. That is a
Alright.
movie.
You said it does count or does not?
It does not. It's clearly a Filoni show. It's a Filoni character. It's a Filoni show.
And The Acolyte. I say thumbs up.
I did not see The Acolyte.
Okay, so going off of all of that, taking Ahsoka out of the equation because that is a Filoni character. She's done 10 projects. Between the two of us, she's 6 of 10 for thumbs up. She's shooting 60% from the field.
That's pretty good.
And if you talk about stuff that was rated high by critics, then you have to put The Acolyte in there because, you know, that was reviewed very well. And then Obi-Wan was also reviewed very well by critics. Very important distinction by critics, and I'll touch on that in a minute. But things that were critically successful. She shot 80% from the field. She's putting up buckets in those 10 years. And I think that some Star Wars fans, I think y'all need to get off her back and just be like, listen, was it the best run? Probably not, but there's some good stuff in here. And I think whoever takes over next, be it Favreau, Filoni, whatever, this is what I will say to them. Ignore the noise, ignore the chatter, put out good stuff, and you will be fine. As far as I'm concerned, as far as Teebs is concerned, maybe, if you put out good stuff and you put out stuff that doesn't feel like nostalgia for nostalgia's sake or anything like that, it will be fine. It's
I tend to agree with that.
We're well past the point where my last point, we're well past the point where we should be kowtowing to the Skywalker fans. Like, let's move this into the next generation, be it with this Starfighter thing that's coming, or maybe Jedi Academy if we ever get that down the line. Like, let's just move past the Skywalkers.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, I would like, yes, make good stuff, but also take more chances.
Yes.
And I don't just mean take more chances with casting or by who your protagonists are. I mean, yes, continue to take those chances, but also take more chances with how you're telling these stories. Take more chances with what you're doing. See, the thing about George is he didn't let the constraints of what was possible stop him. And that's kind of what you need to do and the way you need to be thinking when you're making a Star Wars film. You need to be thinking of something that is larger and bigger, and you need to give people stuff that they can't think of. And I feel like too much of Star Wars is just stuff that we've seen before. Like, I want to go into Star Wars and I want to see something that, like, I've never seen before, I've never
Right.
thought about before. Blows my mind.
And
I just feel like it hasn't been doing. I feel like a lot of this era that you're talking about has been playing it safe, and I just need you to get out of that box, and I need you to take real risks now with the franchise.
I would agree, and this is why I say it's time to move on from the Skywalkers. I think whoever comes in is in a really good position because we told the present of the Skywalkers with the original trilogy. We told the story of before Luke Skywalker with Anakin Skywalker. We have discussed the story about after Luke Skywalker. We've done the past, we've done the present, we've done a little bit of the future. There is no other Skywalker story to tell. That is now in the past. Move on, move past it, create new stories.
Yeah.
Be it from the Filoniverse, whatever.
No,
But again, but again, you've said that, like, you
listen,
can't really.
Again, Clone Wars is part of the Skywalker saga. That's in the past. Stop playing the hits. Stop making live action Clone Wars and Rebels. I need fresh stuff. I need new stuff. New stuff.
Let's continue some of the vibes here. I'm gonna say something that may get me in trouble, so I'm just gonna go ahead and acknowledge the fact that I'm gonna say some wild shit here. Okay. Again, looking at camera 3, The Last Jedi was great, and it's the toxicity of the Star Wars fandom, in a way, that caused the rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi was really, really good, and it took the story in a direction that I don't think I was even thinking of, but because of the toxic nature, because of the toxic wing of the Star Wars fandom, and not appreciating it or having feelings about it, what have you, just the wild overcorrection to Palpatine and making Rey and Kylo not be the conclusionary fight where it's just like at the Rise of Skywalker should have been Rey versus Kylo. I've been saying that for years now. But because there was such backlash for The Last Jedi, it caused J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy to like overcorrect 180 degrees, and it was not necessary. And furthermore, for those that don't like how Luke was portrayed in The Last Jedi as this like upset, angry old man, I get it, but at the same time, when you know the history of Ben Solo and what happened when Luke tried to train him, and then after what happened, it makes perfect sense that Luke would go into hermit status. That was a choice, and it was a good choice because it made sense. That's all I'll say. Toxicity and the backlash about The Last Jedi caused the rise of Skywalker. The rise of Skywalker, you only have yourselves to blame. Okay? That's it. That's all I got. Last Jedi was great.
Yeah, I've been saying Last Jedi was great. I'm on that hill. It's definitely the most interesting thing of the sequels. It's more interesting than Force Awakens, and it's more interesting than Rise of Skywalker.
With the exception of the space horses, which you just don't like whatsoever.
Fuck the space horses. Fuck the space greyhounds. Like,
wow.
Like, okay, even if you don't want George's story, just keep George around to be like, hey, we need a weird creature here. What do you say, George? Well, I don't know. What if it's a three-legged, I don't know, what if it's a two-legged guy, but like he uses his nose also as a thing to walk around with? Oh, that's ridiculous, George. We're going to get started on those sketches right away.
But The Last Jedi. Let's go back to that for a second. What was it for you that made The Last Jedi good? Like you had good feelings about The Last Jedi. I believe when I first started talking to you about it.
It was taking Rey and Kylo to a more interesting place than they wound up. Rey and Kylo having feelings for each other but winding up on opposite sides is a much more interesting dynamic for me than what we got.
Which was like that weird duality of the Force thing, and it turned into this like weird love story that was like completely disjointed by.
I'm with the weird love story. I just think it needed to. I just think they needed to go all the way with it and make it kind of about how Ben feels abandoned or whatever, and like he's reaching out for Rey so much, and Rey also has a weird attraction to Ben. So like they're enemies, but also they're kind of like not like. I want to see how that gets resolved, and I'm never going to see that because we got a movie that was fucking fan service. The motion picture. No, positivity.
All right, go ahead. Let's spread some more good vibes, Steves. Come on, I know you got more in the tank.
Yeah, the characterization of Luke or the way Luke was portrayed, like, okay, why is no? If I'm watching, okay, if I watch the prequel trilogy,
Uh-huh.
if I start with Episode 1, when I get to Empire Strikes Back, aren't I like, they fucking ruined Yoda? Yoda's whole character is fucked up now. Yoda was a Jedi Master, and now, like, what? I'm supposed to believe he's just hanging out in the swamp? When the Empire's taking over, it's the exact same fucking argument that they made for Luke, only, like, when it's Yoda, nobody bats an eyelash. Everybody's like, oh no, that's fine.
That is a fantastic analogy, and I'm glad you brought it up because it is point for point the exact same thing. Now that I think about it, it's point for point the same thing. Now I really don't get it.
Now this is what Rian Johnson was trying to do with The Last Jedi. He was not redoing Empire Strikes. He wasn't doing a straight redo of Empire Strikes Back like
Right.
JJ did a straight redo of A New Hope. He was taking the themes and kind of the stuff that was happening in Empire and trying to transpose it into this situation. What? Okay. So the Rey and Kylo thing. You get two people that start the movie clearly on opposite sides, but by the end of the movie, that stark, I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy, and we hate each other is not as clear at the end of The Last Jedi. Also not as clear at the end of Empire Strikes Back. Like, yes, Darth Vader is this bad guy and I hate him, but also he's my dad.
He's my
now,
dad
so
now.
I have like this weird connection and these weird feelings. That happened, right? You get a moment, you get a turning point where somebody has to realize this can't just be about me anymore. This needs to be about the team because I care about these people. That's Han Solo. Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back has to like make a decision to stop it being about him entirely and make it about the team.
Same way with Finn, where he was having those second thoughts about like staying with the rebellion and him wanting to abandon, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like themes and points from The Empire Strikes Back that you see in The Last Jedi, and you and I both agree that Empire is the best Star Wars movie, hands down, with the exception of maybe fractions of points between Rogue One.
But that's the point. That's what we were trying to do with Last Jedi. We were not trying to make we were trying to make it familiar, but not like a straight up carbon copy.
Which is what I felt like Rise of Skywalker was. Like, Rise of Skywalker was essentially like nothing but fan service. Like, it felt like Return of the Jedi, but at least Return of the Jedi, like by and large, made sense. Like, there was nothing. Okay, positive, good vibes, good vibes. Sorry, I got a little upset. I almost fumbled the bag there. I'm sorry. This is what happens when we talk about Star Wars. Let's see. Can I go back to something that I was talking about as far as like going forward, right?
Cool.
I have a point. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't. But I feel like the bar for Star Wars, like we need to lower this a little bit. Like we have to lower what is considered good, and I'll explain why. Star Wars going forward, this is uncharted territory, I feel, because like I said, we're leaving Skywalkers behind. So you're no longer like trapped in this box of like Skywalker, right? You can expand outward to like the entire galaxy. Did it with Mandalorian and Grogu, but you're starting to like see that like shrink a little bit. So let's keep branching out. I like the idea of Star Wars Starfighter. I'm intrigued to see what that story is about. It's supposed to take place 5 or so years after Rise of Skywalker. So progressing, expanding the galaxy. More of that. But also let's lower the bar. Let's not lower expectations, but like let's lower the bar as far as like what we feel is good, if that makes sense.
No, we're not going to do that.
No?
We're not doing that. No, because lowering the bar is, you don't say, you don't, we're not giving Star Wars participation trophy, okay? Star Wars means something.
I know.
All right, so what I'm saying is what your expectations should be are, you should, don't expect to see the greatest story ever told, but like
Right.
I expect something visually breathtaking.
That's kind of what I mean. Like don't go in there expecting like Empire Strikes Back every time.
Right, right.
I think if you do that, I feel like people will be more open-minded to like the new kinds of stories that they're thinking about here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know when it comes to Star Wars, it's the same thing as Marvel. The worst thing they can be is mid. But you're talking about this thing which is like worth what, like $5 billion now, like this franchise. I think they're at the point now where they can probably. I know they're run by businessmen, but listen, you guys have all this. Would you say they still have a little bit of goodwill?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so you have a little bit of goodwill left. You have the money. Like, you know what? Throw some pasta up against the wall, see if it sticks. If it sticks, give it a sequel, give it a second season, fine. If it doesn't work, whatever. Like, don't be throwing away like $250 million on like one single project. But like at the same, you know what I mean? Like, take 50, 60 million bucks and you're just like, you know what? We're gonna throw this $60 million linguine up against the wall. Let's just see if it sticks. You know what? These weird creatures from another planet we never heard of. Fuck it, let's just see what happens. Like Skeleton Crew. Like, let's just throw that up against the wall and see if it sticks. If it's good, cool, whatever, we'll make another season. If it doesn't, whatever. It only costs us like $70 million. It's fucking pocket change, whatever.
Exactly.
Like, you don't need to spend $250 million on every project. It's not necessary.
Right. Well, it's not necessary. Also, I don't know. You just have to find an angle. You just have to find an angle. And like, you need to stop. You need to let talented filmmakers and visionary people, artists, give them the reins and let them do cool stuff. Like, that's the only way.
It's the only way you're going to get like people. That's the only way you're going to re-energize the fan base.
Right.
How about some more good vibes? You got any more good vibes over there?
I think the vibes have been pretty good so far. So
we'll just leave it there.
Leave it there.
A happy Star Wars Day, everybody. This episode comes out on Wednesday. Obviously, Star Wars Day is Sunday. Support your local and non-local comic book shops on Saturday, May the 3rd. If you live in California and you want to drive to Arizona for your comic books, feel free. If you live in Pennsylvania like I do and want to drive to New Jersey for your comic books, like that's fine. Teebs, I may or may not go to Jay and Bob's Secret Stash on Saturday. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, sure, if that's what you want to do.
I'm serious. I might do that. But until next week, good vibes only for the Star Wars franchise. Teebs, your hopeful level for Star Wars, because, and this is not to be rude or to be an asshole, but you're older than me, so like you've appreciated the franchise a lot longer than I have. Good thoughts for the future direction? Like, are you liking some of the things that you've been reading about, hearing about?
I do like the idea that they seem to be getting away from the Jedi-centric storytelling that they have been kind of only focused on forever, it seems.
Right. Skeleton Crew to me felt good. It felt like a decent start, despite the fact it was like minuscule amounts of Jedi stuff, but like it was still there, but like it wasn't like overarching. I also feel the same way, and we'll see what happens, and we'll talk about it on future podcasts. By the way, like, follow, subscribe to the podcast. We are on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can download podcasts. We're also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube. Full episodes of the podcast, video style, will be on YouTube as well. But that's it. That's the podcast this week. Until next week, we're going to get out of here. Talk to everybody soon. Later.
Thank you.